Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us. This is the Whiskey and Wings podcast. I'm Brad.
I'm Zach.
And we are coming to you with our first podcast. I wouldn't call this episode 1. I would call this our intro, our little meeting with you. Once again, welcome. This podcast is the brainchild of Zach and myself in the midst of a pandemic.
COVID-19.
So about 51 weeks ago, the lockdown started. At that point, we left our gym due to it closing. We migrated to my garage, started a little bit of an underground facility for some dudes from the gym. And in the process of that, had a lot of interesting conversation. And during that conversation, we decided, you know what? People might enjoy this. We should start a podcast.
We certainly do.
Right.
So why would other people not enjoy it?
Right. Most of our conversation in the underground consisted of things that were on podcast, i.e. Joe Rogan, Jocko Willink.
My podcast. I used to have a podcast.
Career Backups.
Yes.
And we decided, hey, why don't we have a podcast about what we talk about now? So that's kind of how this came about. A lot of people when we started telling people that we were going to have a podcast, they said, well, what's it going to be about? What are you going to talk about? And our normal response was absolutely nothing. Mm-hmm. We didn't want to get pigeonholed into a topic. We're not, a conspiracy podcast. We're not a sports podcast. We're not a, whatever podcast. We are going to be talking about everything and anything, really. We're hoping it's entertaining. We find what we talk about entertaining, so why wouldn't anybody else?
Exactly. And like you said, we don't want to pigeonhole ourselves. We didn't want to tie ourselves down to one topic. We literally want to be able to just come on, talk about whatever, about once a week, talk about whatever we want. And that's it. That's what the podcast is.
Right. So we're going to, focus. We're going to talk a little current events, a little fitness and workouts. I mean, that is a lot what we do. Movies, tech, guns, and of course, whiskey and wings, two of our favorite things.
Yep. And that's how we got the name. Brad's favorite thing is whiskey. My favorite thing is wings.
Right. So, a little bit about ourselves and our background. I'm former military, currently work in corrections. I have a culinary arts background. And I fancy myself kind of a jack of all trades, but a master of absolutely nothing. I change my mind and change my focus on things about every 30 seconds.
I will say, when you do something, you go all in. For a little while, it was the podcast. We've got this all started. You needed to focus, on something else. Now you're all in on the underground gym.
Right.
So you do switch your focuses fast, but you do a lot of different things.
Right.
Mm-hmm. In my background, I graduated with an engineering degree from Penn State. I'm in the tech world.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you went to Penn State?
I did. The Pennsylvania State University. Oh, okay. I did, yeah.
I've never heard that before.
I know. I don't really like to brag about it. I don't like to bring it up often, you know, but I did go there. I do have an engineering degree.
Wait, did you go all 4 years at Penn State, Maine?
I'm glad you brought up, because again, that's not something I like to talk about, but yes, I did. No branch campus for me,
right.
But, and then now I'm an ethical hacker. So, but once the podcast takes off, I will be a full-time podcaster.
Right.
This is going to be every day.
We are in this for the money, and independence, financial independence. That's 100% why we are in this.
We want to retire young. Well, I want to. It's kind of too late for you.
Right, there is a little bit of an age difference between us. I'm 20 years older than Zach. I'm in my upper 40s. Zach's in his upper 20s. So we hope to bring a little bit of perspective from a couple different generations. Mm-hmm. Me being what? The World War II generation?
The World War II vet, yes.
Right.
And me being more of a millennial.
Right. Definitely a millennial. So we hope to bring you this podcast weekly. With a little extra bonus material as well. We're really going to focus on the weekly aspect, though. We want to keep this current. So when we do publish this, is that the right
Publish, yeah.
So when this podcast does get posted or published or out there to you guys, it's very current. That is our main focus. We don't want to be talking about things that happened, 2-3 weeks ago. So
and we'll be on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, you name it. We're gonna be on every platform.
Right. And if you want to get in contact with us, and please do get in contact with us, we can be reached by our email at thewhiskeyandwingspodcast@gmail.com.
And if you email us, we will talk about it on the air.
Right.
Guaranteed.
Right. At least for the first couple episodes until we get bombarded with thousands of emails.
I'm really looking at my old podcast buddies. Like, they know how hard it is to get people to email us. So I have 2 friends that really should fucking email us. And you know who you are.
All right, so going forward, once again, it's going to be Zach and I. We hope to have some guests, but we're not really focusing on a guest-oriented podcast right now. We're just going to be chit-chatting about some stuff. We did have a producer that we were hoping would be here for our first, at least, intro. He's a little bit of a
flake,
and he tends to be tardy for these things. So we kind of had to fire him before we even started. Yeah. So we're accepting
big drama on the set.
Right. Yeah. So we are accepting applications for interns, and we have a couple viable candidates coming. So there may be a couple more people involved in this podcast going forward.
We have the producer spot set up. I mean, it's all there. We have the mic and everything. We just need a good candidate. So please send us your resume.
Right.
We will look at it and probably break it down on air. If someone sends us their resume, I will guarantee I will print that out and we will go down every one of your qualifications on air.
All right. So once again, we hope you enjoy our content going forward. Please, and if you do, please let your friends know about us. Like us, do all that, internet stuff.
Yeah, it's stuff on the interwebs, as Brad usually calls it.
Right. So once again, thanks for joining us, and we hope you enjoy the podcast.
I'm looking forward to it. Thanks, Brad.
All right. Thank you.